don't feel like one succeeds in being an activist because I feel like it's an ongoing process. I'm still learning. I'm still having to kind of see where else my voice will be impactful or is needed. So, I don't like the word succeed or success in that it feels like it's final. I feel like I still have so much to learn. I still have so much to give, hopefully. I've seen some amazing work being done in this area of gender equality, specifically pushing back against sexual harassment and victim blaming. It's everyone's speaking about it.
From her online social movement, Don't Tell Me How to Dress, to UN Women's Goodwill Ambassador for Asia Pacific, Cindy Bishop takes a look back at her achievements as an advocate for gender equality and women's empowerment. Though Cindy never planned to become an activist, her movement has had a significant impact on Thai society. Nowadays, many people are much more aware that sexual harassment and victim blaming are wrong. Regardless, Cindy thinks that a lot of work still needs to be done.
How do we put everybody in the conversation? How do we engage with law enforcement? How do we appeal to government to put policies in that are going to protect women more? And so there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of, even just media and women empowerment. It has become such a cool thing to do, right? There's so many commercials. There's so many campaigns. Great. But let's make sure it's sustainable. Let's make sure it's really creating the impact we want in the lives of the women themselves.
Even though awareness of gender equality and women's rights have increased in recent years, Cindy noticed that oftentimes men are still being left out of the conversation.
We have been so focused on women's rights that we've left the men out of the conversation. And there's a lot of young men, particularly now, that are angry, because it's almost like we're bashing them for being, toxic masculinity. But there's so many more examples of positive male allies. And this is why we need to shift our tone. I'm doing it anyway. I'm raising a son, and my husband is my biggest supporter. I can tell you without a doubt, I would not be here doing as much as I am today if he wasn't in my corner, pushing me, telling me, you go for it. So those are the men that we need to really highlight and bring back into, hey, let's we're in this together. Gender equality, we're not here to take your jobs. Yeah. We're here to help, the company or the society just be more holistic, right?
After reaching milestones in her advocacy, Cindy is now taking us back to the basics, mental well-being, which she says is the most important aspect when it comes to quality leadership. Cindy explains that in a fast-paced world, many people, including leaders, are burning out. As a result, people are now placing much more importance on self-care, healing, and finding a work-life balance.
So the best leaders are the ones who are, first of all, self-aware. You need to know where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are. Then you need to be self-accepting. Okay, I gotta work on this area, right? And then you need to have good self-management, right? It's all about discipline. It's, having a routine. It's being your best self so that you can then impact the change you wanna see. If you're not well, emotionally, physically, spiritually, holistically, you're not going to be a well leader. So that's kind of a long way of saying, hey, let's get back to basics. Let's talk about how you're taking care of yourself health-wise. How are you, จัดการบริหารเวลา like time management and things like that.
But as a woman juggling between work and family, Cindy admits that maintaining the right balance and her well-being is not always easy.
So it comes back to being self-aware, knowing, okay, this is when I'm on it, I'm kicking it, and then there are moments where I'm like, what am I doing? I can't. and being okay with that and knowing that, you know, at the end of the day, you just got to do your best. There are going to be times where it's like malasum kao, like the storm hits you. So I kind of have the vision of I'm in a boat and I'm sailing the seas. Sometimes the seas are very nice and calm. And then sometimes the storm is going to hit you, and your job is to just make sure your boat doesn't capsize. So I think the answer to your question is I'm a very disciplined person. I have a routine. I have a way of balancing my calendar that's color-coded according to my chakras. Things like that. But everyone has to have their own. You got to find what works for you. Women, we've been conditioned to be quiet and be, you know, don't make a fuss. And when we do make a fuss, we're branded as angry feminists or, you know, too confident. And I think that it's our time to really, you know, show, not just our daughters and young girls, but our sons and young men too, that there are a place in society for everyone, male or female, or in between.